Saturday.
Okay.
It'll come back in.
Because there were 2 deer taken off of that property where the evergreen,
Yeah.
you know, behind there. Somebody saw, and I'm assuming, because we were outside all day and didn't hear any gunshots, I'm assuming it was archery.
Yeah, there is no, I mean, the only gunshots you hear right now is for small game.
Okay.
And then the next season to come in is gonna be the Saturday after Thanksgiving is deer season, but really, there should be nowhere here other than up on the mountain and maybe the beach.
Are you on the cul-de-sac portion of?
No,
so,
I'm on Reeser Road.
So the, is Hill Lane, maybe is the cul-de-sac portion adjacent to your development? Am I thinking of the right development?
Yeah, well,
Point Ridge?
yeah, it's Back Point Ridge.
Yeah.
Sunset Way.
I remember
like
very
the next one down.
vividly last year, people reaching out to us and asking if there was something that could be coordinated with the Game Commission because there was what they perceived to be an excessive number of deer in that location. So it's possible that the property owner gave permission. Of course, we can't confirm that at this point, and we'd hope that they'd have a hunting license as well.
Okay, sure. And then one more thing, the area back behind Cork and Fork and Evergreen, there seems to be a lot of late night activity. So, because my husband and I sit out, we don't now because it's winter, but in the summer, we would always hear people and they were kind of raucous, and I don't know if there's, you know, and it's way far back.
Is it the parking lot that goes all the way
It's
back?
the parking lot that goes the whole way back, and our property adjoins that parking lot.
Okay.
So we hear things back there that, and I know some of our neighbors have cameras, and they've caught people like going down into the field and things like that. So if you could possibly
Absolutely.
patrol back there, or if we, like the other night I heard somebody scream, but I couldn't tell if it was a scream like I'm in trouble scream, and it was just one scream, or if it was, you know, just somebody that had a little too much at Cork and Fork.
Excitable.
Yeah.
It was Jeremy scared by a ghost while he was trick-or-treating. I'm easily scared.
But yeah, if you could kind of keep an eye on that, especially in the summer, it seems to be, you know, more prevalent. And there's no reason why they would be back that far. I mean, there's plenty of parking in the front and even like the first lane or 2 in the back, but this is way back where the macadam ends.
Yeah, anytime we pull into a big parking lot like that, you see somebody parked way at the back, that just is like begging to get talked to.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Just
coming.
there's a free tip for you.
Hey, Chief, if I could, when an officer stops out there, if Trax is open, maybe rap on their door and pass along the information to Mike so that he's aware of it.
Yep.
And he may want to post the property for no trespassing or something.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Dave Fish, 45 Lamppost Lane, in the great township, or not township, in the great neighborhood of Pine Brook. Thank you. I was asked to hand this in by somebody who had to leave the meeting earlier. This is the text of the Camp Hill anti-discrimination ordinance. I remember at the last meeting, there was a request by many residents that this be looked at, and the board expressed interest in doing it. And one thing that somebody said is, here is the words right here, so here's this. As to why the township should do their own, because the residents have asked for it. Also, it would be a little bit faster reaction time than having to wait for the state. And this right here says, the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act does not preclude the borough from enacting and enforcing its own anti-discrimination ordinance, which prohibits additional categories of discrimination. So we could add things that are not being covered by the state, is that correct? If we had our own local ordinance?
Right.
Okay. Well, here, I'll just hand it in. Copies for you guys.
I'll be glad.
You guys can look at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else from you before we move on? Okay, seeing none. Legislative update. Thank you, the audience. Thank you very much. We actually made some changes based on the audience participation, which is very, very good. Thank you. Legislative update.
Actually, sorry, Nate, before you commence, oversight on my behalf, items 13A and B should have also been under legislative updates.
Right.
So at the appropriate time, the board can discuss those matters. Sorry.
Yeah, that's where they're gonna come, right there.
Not a problem here. So, and just one item here I'll point out. Senate Bill 607 is the radar legislation. As you know, earlier this session, the Senate passed legislation allowing local police to use radar. The House did move the bill, Senate Bill 607. Speaking of the microphone, better here. The House did move the Senate Bill 607. They made some further changes to it. Last session, as you recall, they made some major changes to it that made it almost nearly impossible for local police to use it. But this is not so heinous in that regard. So as of right now, it's a viable bill over there in my mind. The State Association of Township Commissioners is on board with it at this point still. So hopefully something gets across the goal line on that front. But I'll defer here to Commissioner Gaspich wanting to bring up the two other items here on the agenda, House Bill 1347 and House Bill 1864.
I'll defer to the manager on his discussions with the EMS director.
So in general terms, the local EMS council, which your full-time employed EMS director is a member of, they're not in favor of the proposed terms of House Bill 1862, which would force an EMS company to provide services to residents and individuals traversing through the township, working in the township, if you will, requiring them to accept payments from out-of-network insured companies at a reduced rate in line with the Medicare reduction. And as we all know, we've been working with the assistance and direction of Commissioner Gaspich, the EMS liaison, and the rest of the board to try and ensure that our EMS company is sound in the way of its operating expenses and maintains the best possible services. So if it pleases the board, I'd recommend that you take action to direct me to send letters of opposition to House Bill 1862, but support the terms and conditions which is also related to EMS services under House Bill 1347, which would allow an EMS company to directly bill an insurance carrier and require that payment not be negotiated to a reduced amount, but actually paid to the municipality at the full service fee directly. Currently, if you're not aware, insurance providers, when we bill them, they sometimes send the payment directly to the patient, and then the patient fails to make payment or remit payment to the township and keeps the insurance money, and then so we're out our cash, and they've got to win in a windfall of money. So 1347, as I review it, would address that concern and require insurance companies to pay the EMS company directly in the amount fully billed.
So moved.
Second.
I have a regular motion that's been seconded. Is there anything on the question? Audience? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
John, one more item here on legislative report. The State Association of Township Commissioners updated its 2020 legislative priorities. I'll have Keith send this around. The only new item is that the first-class township code, there's been a process for modernizing that. It's been a couple decades since that terminology and language in that code has been updated, so it will be introduced in 2020 here, and hopefully we'll see action and get done sooner rather than later.
Knock on wood. Thank you. Okay, we're down to item 13, Commissioners. Commissioner Gaspich.
I have nothing, sir.
Nothing? Mr. Beanstalk. You have anything?
Sure.
Good.
In terms of the Council of Governments, 2020 dates are, meeting dates are out, as well as for the UCC meeting dates here, so I'll make sure Keith has those. January 20th is the annual dinner of the Best Western Union Deposit. And then in terms of the fire company, I will not be around Saturday, December 6th, so if we can have somebody take the lead in terms of presenting the gift cards.
Is that the date that, oh, that's their holiday party that they throw for themselves, not
I'll be there.
the banquet.
Well, I think we'll all be there.
Try to be there. I have something that night, but I'm gonna try to stop there
Yeah,
early.
we'll take care of this.
I appreciate that, and their annual banquet is on January 25th, so please mark that date down.
125 is,
Right, Keith, we asked about, Red Cross, having community leader awards. I take it, I do one correspondence from the fire company in terms of not having money, submit for that one, right?
Chief and Bill have indicated saying that given the terms of the application, they didn't feel as though anyone had performed those types of activities throughout the current period. Not that they're not excelling at their job, but just not to the extent that they're looking for.
And did I say December 6th before? It's December 7th is their event, the fire company's event. December 7th is also Operation Ho-Ho. So look on the township, on the fire company's homepage, and I'm sure we'll put it on our homepage as
We
well.
already have it
It's
on
there.
Yeah.
In terms of Operation Ho-Ho, so hopefully residents will take advantage of that. In terms of the Veterans Recognition Committee, I'm very pleased to announce that township received a state grant in the amount of $102,500, and I credit staff, Dave and Mike Erna here for taking the lead on that. And Jeremy. And Jeremy. Jeremy's done yeoman's efforts here as well, Keith, here in terms of making sure our Veterans Park and Memorial is top notch. So thank you for everybody's work on this project. This is to add the pavilion to the park, and looking forward to a successful completion on that.
Pavilion, walking trails, stream crossing and bridge.
restroom, there's a
Yes,
restroom in there?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Yes, and then likely evaluate reassigning some of the grant that was originally intended to be for the amphitheater, because Gary moved faster than the DCNR grant review team and got that project completed with the assistance of Jeremy's staff.
That's all I have.
Okay, I just have a couple of things. In your, everybody has this?
Yes,
In your thing, I'd like you to take a look at this. It's a proposed letter to the business community on the Carlisle Pike between Camp Hill and Sporting Hill Road. And for years and years and years, of course, we've been trying to get that part, we have that part of the southern part of the township to be better than it is. And we know that this development took place way before zoning was put into effect in Hampton Township. In fact, that development started in the 1700s in that area. Most of the buildings, of course, long gone. Peace Church still exists down on Trimble. But in any event, what I'd like to do is ask the business community to get together and talk about what they're doing, maybe even consider sidewalks and things like that along the whole Carlisle Pike, at least in that stretch. At least ask them if they would consider doing such a thing. So that's my proposed letter. If you have comments or suggestions, or maybe tell me it's a bad idea, just let me know. I'm meeting on December 3rd with Captain Gill, our friend who's running the Navy base. The agenda items that I have are a stormwater fee, fireworks, the base fire company, base security, Trindle Road flooding, traffic issues, current assessed value. Those are things that occurred to me. Jay was, I was thinking of the Trindle Road flooding and the traffic issues. Well, Jay was right. I could say Jay was. Put that on, put Jay was down. But those were two of the items on Jay was.
Well, it's their latest, the program that they mentioned that they're able to do.
The fireworks, like, those you talk about?
No. Well,
The joint purchase,
but there's also other things, but also on James, perhaps, Jeremy could think of this, the Trimble Road flooding, or asking for help from DEP, but also, they've said that they might be able to help us with some of these other issues, and flooding is one that we brought up.
There is, and we have an issue with pump station 16, wastewater pump station 16.
So if anybody has other things they'd like to add to that agenda, I'd like to know, because I'd like to forward the agenda to Captain Gill before December 3rd. So he's prepared, or he brings staff or whatever he has to do to be able to address the issues. And if Hampton staff needs to be there for that, that would not be a bad idea, if it fits in. Anything on the pool study that we need to talk about? Is that's in process? There's nothing new.
Yeah, in process right now, Water's Edge, the consultant is following up on public comment from the October meeting, and they are still on schedule for to give their final products in December.
Great.
Presented at another public meeting.
So they can't be-
I thought that's what they indicated when they made
I
it.
believe they did, so that may fall in January, the schedule.
But the draft is posted to the website as well.
Okay, we've talked about the new building, and we've never really focused as a board on the disposition of this building. Is that something that you have scheduled for some period of time, to open the discussions on that?
So the anticipated completion date for the new building is June.
Correct.
As I sit here right now, knowing projects of that caliber slide a bit, probably moving from this building to the new location, let's say July. There is a procedural process for a municipality to sell real estate property through competitive bids.
Correct.
And I would strongly encourage that if you're agreeable tonight, you direct the solicitor and I to prepare those bids and advertisement so that if we get a good price, you can consider accepting that on the building. And the property has already been appraised, so we have an idea of what the appraised value of this property is.
So you wouldn't be opposed to taking a motion right now just to get the
I'd
process
appreciate
started?
that, I'd appreciate that.
Would somebody like to make a motion to start the process? I have a regular motion that's been seconded to start the process. I assume that the motion includes using the appraised value
Yes,
as
sir.
a part of the process?
Yes.
Anything else that you need in it? No, okay. All right, I have a regular motion that's been seconded, and then we're question on the motion. Anybody from the board? From the audience? Kathleen?
What is the zoning for this building, like this area? What would happen, like what could be put here?
Oh, you mean if they tore it down?
Yeah, what's the zoning, what's the zoning?
Oh.
Apartment office limited.
Apartment?
Apartment?
Apartment office.
limited,
Okay.
which includes a number of different types of permitted uses,
Yeah,
but
that's,
that's the current zoning classification.
and that's all online, but in any event, if you're interested, Kathleen, talk to Keith.
No, but I mean, we already have the Union Flats that's expanding tremendously, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
over there. We have the school traffic, and we have the Navy Depot traffic right here. If we put some sort of apartment building in there, that will, this is a through road, just like St. John's Church Road
I
is.
can't imagine that somebody would buy this building and tear it down, because the site isn't big enough
Well,
to
I
do
know, but we
anything.
didn't imagine what would happen with Bramble.
Well,
So the recourse, just so I'm clear, would be to leave this building and maintain it in perpetuity and have to run utilities to it, continue to repair roofs that are leaking and not get any reimbursement from the taxpayers' investment in this 50-year-old building?
No, I'm not, Mr. Mills, I'm not, I was just asking about, like, is there some, we can't, when we sell it, we can say we can't put apartments here?
I guess the commissioners could consider a deed restriction, but speaking purely for myself, I'd like to leave every opportunity available for the sale of this building because our neighboring municipality, Lower Allen Township, had the misfortune of having to maintain their old municipal building for a number of years. And then try and find tenants and maintain it, and then even if we find tenants, the maintenance costs associated with this building wouldn't be profitable. So I'm not making that recommendation to the board, but the board can wrestle with that at the appropriate time.
I think the motion, the purpose of the motion is to see what people are willing to bid for. We may not get any bids, so at least we would know, and that of course would all be in the public domain, so we would come back and say, well, we didn't get any bids, what are we gonna do, or we got bids, and this is where they're at. And, at least it'll give us a starting point to try to
I'm
figure
not
out.
saying to keep it, I was just wanting to know what the zoning was, because it seems like the zoning ordinance, laws cause problems, and if we're not ahead of that, then why don't, just being aware of what could potentially be here.
Exactly. So it's a good point, and I think if the motion passes, what the staff will do is to get some bids in to see just what the market will bear, whether we can even get rid of it or we get stuck like Lower Island did. At least we'll find that out. So thank you. Is it anything else before we vote? Yes.
Oh, Hey, Dave Fish again. Do we want to, I know people in the public have suggested that there could be public uses for the building. A library for one, another rec center, something like that. Could we have a public hearing to discuss these options before we sell it?
Well, everything we do is public, okay? There have been discussions that aren't public, because with real estate type things, people don't want to talk about everything that goes on. But your point is, let's just say, your point is well taken.
Right.
And rest assured that we're trying to do the best we can with a building that's 50 years old. And if we can dispose of it and it can serve some wonderful use, everybody, I think, would be happy.
Also, we've had some
If you know what I
discussions with other public entities,
Yes.
and I won't mention sidebar discussions, to see if there was interest, and thus far, nothing.
I assume,
We gave cost figures to some people,
Right.
things like that, how much does it cost? They want to know what the electricity costs and things like that.
I assume that even with this advertisement, the commissioners would retain their discretion to award any bid that met the appraised value, correct? So it doesn't obligate them to the sale, it casts the net and allows them to evaluate the matter.
Gives us information.
Which right now is unknown.
We have a big question mark, which is why I brought it up, because, at some point in time, we have to make a decision about what to do. And you can't do it without some information, so at least this would give us a starting point, if you follow what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, but are we gonna,
If the motion passes.
will there be a public hearing for members of the community to offer suggestions for the building or to come up with other ideas that you may not have considered yet before the property is sold or even bids are accepted?
People can do that at any meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we you have some ideas?
Yeah,
We
library.
just said library.
Yeah.
The operation of the library is so incredibly expensive.
Well,
And they won't do it.
Right, the county's already,
The county won't do it.
The strip bar? To make some money? Just a joke. That would be a very entertaining public hearing, I would say that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, Dave, I don't want to say that I've spoken to the library. But I spoke to the library. Anyhow, thanks.